Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be a champion guide for miscreated monsters. So let's get into it. Alrighty, so first off, let's go ahead and pull him up here. We're gonna go down to Knight Revenant, and gonna be an HP Epic Magic Affinity right here. This is miscreated monster, obviously themed after Frankenstein, and was released to the game kind of in that Halloween theme and mold back when like Harvest Jack and Madame Ceris were released to the game. I do have champion guides for both of those as well on my channel. So yeah, first things first, as with all of my champion guides, I will have a link down in the video description to this little infographic here. Just kind of shows the masteries that I'm currently using on the champion and kind of the book requirements and the grades, which I'll go over here in a little bit after I go over the abilities. So first of all, we're going to go with the base speed of 95. For an epic, it's decent. It's not great. It's not bad. We've got an A1 that attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit with a 15% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn, has a 50% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense debuff for 1 turn if the stun debuff is placed. So it's kind of a snowball thing there. It'll also place the decreased defense if the stun is placed, and we can scale that up with 4 books to buff the chance 10% higher, and it's based on HP. One cool thing about miscreated monster is that he is based off of HP, so gonna be able to put out both damage and sustain at the same time. We've got an A2, attack all enemies, 50% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn, and this is kind of the big redeeming quality of Eminem, I call him sometimes. Places a shield buff on all allies for 3 turns equal to 25% of the damage inflicted, and this is based on HP. This is a 3-turn cooldown, so it's basically a permanent shield. With it being AoE, we're going to be hitting a lot of enemies, doing a lot of damage, and placing a huge shield, which you'll get to see in action when I show you him in dungeons. Alright, we've got places a 50% ally protection buff on all allies except for this champion for 3 turns. Heals this champion by 50% of their max HP. Places a 15% continuous heal buff on this champion for 3 turns. So a big heal, some sustain, and some ally protection on a 4-turn cooldown. We have a passive that places a fear debuff on the attacker for 1 turn whenever an ally is attacked while under an ally protection buff. So we're also placing some just fears as a passive. And then the HP aura here is, 33% for the arena. So the aura is, it's better than nothing, but, as always, we wish it was all battles and like 25 or 30%. But nonetheless, if you're going to be using him for a defensive arena team or something, it's better than nothing. So yeah, very cool kit. Let me go ahead and pull up that graphic again. Okay, so one of the best overall gradings I've ever done, especially for an epic champion, campaign A+. Now, I did not know this before having him, and I'm glad that I tested it, but he's actually a pretty good campaign farmer. Definitely endgame viable, and he's also not only a viable campaign farmer, but he's amazing in terms of like helping you 3-star Nightmare because of all of his shield and self-sustain. So definitely an A+ in the campaign, and I will show you that in action. Clan boss is a B. Remember, we're not going to place the decreased defense on our A1 because the stun will not be happening against the clan boss, but because of all of his shield and ally protection, he does have some utility in the clan boss, so I gave him a B. B+. Lots of AoE stuns, shields, can be really good for defense. Not like super god tier maybe for like speed farming gold 4 meta, but definitely pretty solid in the arena. Dungeons and faction wars is obviously where he's really going to shine. We've got an A+, so much sustain, protection, and shield, so definitely an A+ there. And yeah, that'll be down in the video description if you want to click on it. And also worth noting, 10 epic books required. You can see there on the top left, which is pretty good. Usually epics are going to be somewhere between like 8 and 15, and so 10 is a little bit towards the lower end, and he's definitely worth 10 books. He's a very, very good champion. And also down in the video description, I will have a link to my champions, tier list and rankings where I have every champion in the game ranked, well, legendaries, epics, and rares. I have miscreated monster in my god tier for epics, so definitely an amazing champion worth 6-starring, and I will go ahead and pull him up here and kind of show you how I geared him and what we're doing here. So, okay, now, admittedly, he can be a little bit gear intensive because we're going to need to get HP, speed, accuracy, and also crit rate and crit damage, because remember, our shield is going to be based off of damage inflicted, so we want him critting, and we want him critting hard. So it can be very tough to get all of those stats, and the gear can be somewhat intense to get those things to marry. And you know, so don't be surprised if it's not perfect. I don't have mine geared perfectly. I had to kind of throw together gear that I was able to find, but I was able to get his speed pretty decent, his crit rate pretty high, and the crit damage is a little bit lower than I would like, but at least it's there, and he's still placing some pretty good shields. And remember, we do need accuracy for these stuns and stuff that he is placing. So you know, I just use him in dungeons, and so like anything over 200, he's going to be landing pretty often. And you know, for my banner, you can either go with accuracy or HP. Ideally, we would get him closer to 300 accuracy, but my best banner by far for him, because of the speed, defense, and HP, was this one. So I made that sacrifice and went with HP instead of an accuracy banner, because all my accuracy banners were garbage, so I didn't really have a choice. I had to kind of swap into an accuracy set to make up for that, and then just, you know, hope that 218 accuracy is enough for his utility, and it seems to be. The amulet, I went with crit damage because it's going to make his shield higher. You could also go with a different, like an HP amulet that has crit damage and accuracy as substats, but this is the best one that I had, so I went with that. On a ring, we're obviously going to be looking for HP main stat, and then HP and defense on the substats. Now, gloves are a very interesting one. A lot of different options here. You can go with the crit damage ones that have like a crit rate and good substats. You can go HP like I did, because I had really good ones that have crit rate, accuracy, and crit damage. That was kind of my best option there. You know, you could also go crit rate gloves if you've got, you know, the other stuff like HP, crit damage, accuracy. So the gloves are a very interesting slot on him, and you can kind of just go with your best blend of getting HP, crit chance, and crit damage and accuracy. Then on the chest, we're probably going to want an HP chest basically always on him, and then obviously getting your speed, your crit rate, your you know, your other substats that are important on him. This was obviously not ideal, but it's a 6-star HP piece that has really good crit rate, so it's going to help me pump out those shields. We're typically going to want speed boots, but not always. If you find good boots that have like speed substats, and you're kind of formulating into the speed of your team, you don't have to go with speed as long as you have speed on it as a substat. Usually that rolls a couple times, but this was my best ones for him. And then obviously your top rows, you're just looking for your main, you know, like core. The core stat is always going to be the same, is what I was trying to say, and the substats, you're looking for speed, crit rate, accuracy, and HP. So yeah, that's kind of the gearing process that I went with on building him, and this is kind of the stats that I ended up with, and he performs just fine in endgame dungeons and faction wars. Now, the masteries are also a little bit interesting. I've seen some people go defense and support, some people go offense and support, some people go crit damage. War Master, if you're using him against the clan boss, you're gonna want that War Master. I went with the Helm Smasher because he's got the AoE for his shield, so he's hitting multiple different things, so the odds of him getting Helm Smasher procs is pretty high, and when he is, you know, getting those Helm Smasher procs is going to help him pump out a lot of those shields. And then, yeah, this will be down in the description. As always, you want to read over masteries, not just blindly copy them, because you're going to want to be building the champion for what you use them for. Just like I said, I'm prioritizing mine for factions and dungeon wars. If you're prioritizing yours for, like, the clan boss or something else, you need to be able to tailor the champion for you. So don't just blindly copy. Use this as kind of like a starting point. And you know, there is a chance I may change mine or test other things out. This is what I'm kind of going with right now. Okay, so one thing I was excited to show you was him in the campaign. This is very cool. I did not expect him to be this good in the campaign. So brutal, 12-3, endgame viable. Here we go. We'll throw him in and see what he can do here. And when I was off camera, he seemed to be running this pretty good. So yeah, hitting decently hard and burning through. Boom, look at that. 9-second run. Very, very well done. So I did not expect him to be that good of a campaign farmer in Brutal. So very cool to see. You know what? Live, I'm just kind of thinking of this. I'm going to go ahead and try it on Nightmare. I expect him to lose, but why not test this live, you know? Let's see what he's actually capable of. I think he may be able to do this if you give him the lifesteal set. Yeah, I don't think he's going to quite hit hard enough. Oh, and the block buffs. So he would need, like, resistance probably. You know, he might be able to do it with lifesteal, because he's got the sustain and the stuns and stuff. And if I built his masteries to be a little bit more tailored for the campaign, he might be able to do Nightmare. But yeah, I'm interested to see how this will turn out. I don't expect him to be able to do it, but he is holding his own. And it should only get easier as he, you know, gets more speed and stuff from snowballing on proccing some of those masteries. The force ones are obviously going to be the most difficult. And honestly, 12-6 might be better for him. Okay, so this wave is all spirit. So technically, he should be okay. And remember, mine's not min-maxed for the campaign. You know, I'm just kind of showing you what he can do for fun. But he's definitely not built to do this. So I think he could do a pretty good job of Nightmare Campaign if he was actually built for it with a little bit better gear. Okay, so he's getting kind of low there, but he healed himself up. I think he could definitely do it with lifesteal. He was getting pretty low there for a second. Got a little bit risky. The last wave is all spirit, but with those Lord Shazars proccing bombs, I expect this to be the end. Although he resisted the bombs, it looked like. Because he is magic, so it's tough for the Lord Shazars to place those bombs. A little bit tougher than if he was like a Void champion. Those bombs probably place a little bit more consistently. Those triple hitters from those Shazars are just painful to watch. It makes the campaign take forever. That 3-turn continuous heal is pretty handy. Wow, is he gonna do it? I didn't expect this. Like, you're kind of watching me do this live. I was just kind of thinking, like, I should at least show Nightmare, and even if he does fail, people can at least see what he's capable of here. So this is pretty impressive to solo 12-3 on Nightmare when I didn't even build him to do the campaign. So yeah, wow, very, very impressive and much better in the campaign than I thought he would be. Yeah, he did it. Wow, he did it. Okay. A pretty slow time, admittedly, but like I said 3 times, I think he could do better if he was actually like geared for it. So yeah, very cool. That's really fun. I'll also show you how I use him in the Golem. Is a pretty good dungeon for him. He's magic affinity stage 20 is spirit, and he places shields, you know, to help you stay alive and stuff. So and the stuns are pretty handy as well. So it allows you to kind of bring a little bit more DPS than you normally could. And I could probably like, so in my dungeon teams, I have a golem team that does it in like a minute and a half. But the problem is it's like an 85 to 90% win rate. It's a team revolving around Seer and placing a bunch of buffs and debuffs, Seer, nuking everything. And you can get into a sticky spot where Seer kind of like procs things at the wrong time, or for whatever reason, you know, the golem starts doing his effects and snowballing, and he kind of slaughters my team. Happens about once every 10 runs or so. Now, this run is about a minute slower with Miscreated Monster, but it's going to be a 100% win rate. So, if it's something that you're going to, like, auto-click overnight, I would probably go with this, because, it's, you know, the time doesn't really matter if it's a little bit slower. If you're gonna auto-click it overnight, if you're going to do it for, like, 8 hours, it doesn't really matter if it's a little bit slower. You know, like, if you load 2,000 energy, what's the difference if it's gone in an hour and a half or 3 hours? Like, it doesn't really matter. So, the 100% win rate is more optimal in that situation. But, yeah, you can see here, just kind of seeing him in action. He's got the stuns on the A1. He's got, you know, lots of shields, ally protection. You do have to be a little bit careful with the ally protection, because I've noticed in some of the golem runs, he'll place the ally protection, and then he'll just get slaughtered and die. So that is a little bit risky with him, and something to kind of watch out for. Right there, he placed the ally protection, and then boom, you see it knocked him down all the way to half health. I've seen that one-shot him before. So yeah, if I was doing my Seer composition, they'd be done about right now. So I expect this to take about 2 minutes and like 19 seconds. So not quite a minute worse, but definitely slower. And boom, that one usually hits pretty hard. That's a little bit risky. Oh, it gets a little bit slow there sometimes if there's like freezes and stuns and all these debuffs. How close am I going to get? I said 219. Ah, I missed it. Alright, there we go. 221. Pretty good. So, yeah, definitely viable endgame golem and most other dungeons as well. Let me... Actually, what was that? No, not good enough. Okay, so another cool thing is the spider. I'll show you kind of the spider 20 auto team that I used him for. Really enables you to kind of help build a team for the spider, keep your squishies alive, and you'll see how massive the shield is. So there we go, we debuff. And boom, look at these shields. Like, look at this cold heart. That's 1, 2, 3, like, more than triple her HP from the shield. I mean, that is, and that's for the whole team. Like, look, this is probably worth, like, so this is probably like 100,000. This is probably shielding of like 500,000. Because my cold heart has about 30,000 HP. So we go 30, so we go 30, 60, 90. So yeah, about 90, and then, you know, 100 times 500. This shield is somewhere between like 400 and 485,000, somewhere in there. So yeah, tons of shields. And similar to my ice golem strategy, I do have an auto strat that can farm the spider in like 20 seconds or 25 seconds, something like that, revolving around like Prince Kaimar, Royal Guard, Dracomorph, debuffing, Royal Guard smashing it. But the problem is, again, it's like an 85 to 90% win rate, because if my Dracomorph doesn't proc both the defense down and the weaken, I fail. But with this run, it's going to be way more consistent. It's probably like a 99 to 100% win rate. I've done it about 30 times without ever losing. Maybe it's possible for it to lose. I doubt it. It's probably a 100% win rate. So again, if I were doing something overnight, would be probably the better option. And it takes about 45 seconds to a minute, depending on the run. And, you know, this one was obviously slower because I stopped to talk. But, yeah. All right, so I wish we could sell here on the screen. Unfortunately, we can't. Another thing I like to do for these videos is go through and rank them. You know, and yeah, you can see here something I talked about earlier in the video. He's one of the most, like, overall well-rounded, well-graded champions I've ever done, especially for an epic. And you can see that reflected here in the in-game ratings. You can see a lot of basically 4.8 to 5, very solid across the board. And similar to the in-game ratings, I had him worse than the clan boss, but still decent, and we can see that reflected here. So recommended artifacts, I don't agree with this. I like to check this and see how accurate it is. The HP I'm okay with, and they tend to recommend basic sets. They don't like to, you know, put like divine sets here. They typically stick to the basic sets from what I've seen. So I would have gone like, instead of defense, maybe speed or something. But yeah, it is what it is. So ratings, campaign, I'm gonna give him a 5. Incredible there. Arena defense, 5. Very good. Spider Den, 5. Minnow, 5. Dragon, 5. Clan boss, I'm gonna go 3. I think he's decent. I'm gonna go, it's like a 3.5, makes it tough. Golem, 5. Void, 5. Force Keep, he's magic, so I'll give him a 4, but he's still pretty good there. Magic, 5. Fire Knight, his A1 hits twice. The good shield, he's magic affinity. Fire Knight 20 is force, so that's a little bit rough. I'm gonna give him a 3. Spirit Keep, 5. And then not shown here is Faction Wars and Arcane Keep. He would be a 5 in both of those. So yeah, very amazing champion who grades out very well. So yeah, that's going to kind of do it for this video on Miscreated Monster. A very well-designed champion, a god-tier epic, and, you know, definitely, if you have him, build him, use him. Let me know what you think down in the comments. I always enjoy your guys' perspective. So yeah, as always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.